Insects and fungi are some of the least understood parts of nature, but a new study taking part across the world, including in Australia, is looking to unveil their secrets using DNA from air samples collected worldwide. So, how does DNA get sampled from the air? And what can it teach us about insects and fungi?
It's called a cyclone sampler. So it's basically like a mini vacuum cleaner that runs according to it faces according to the prevailing wind. And we had this sort of sampling going for twice a week for 24 hours. The data we collected here was the first time that fungi samples have been taken worldwide. In terms of our biodiversity, we know a fair bit about mammals and plants. We know much less about insects, but we even know less about fungi. And this is one of the great things about this project, those spore samples that we're taking. We could take exactly the same measurements across the world. We start to collect data which is really easily comparable. And it means that we can identify really big biogeographic trends in fungi and relate them back to other parts of our diversity. So it's very difficult to sample fungi in general. And so this is a way to do a really, a quick assessment of what species are found where. And then we can start to look into more, so if we find unique identified species, and also species that have never been identified before, we can start to look at these sites in more detail and actually start to get more sort of information about natural history of the species, even identify them. We've expanded that to now directly compare the diversity of fungi to insects, to birds, and also to mammals at each of our sites and see if they differ between urban and rural environments. The collection of the samples is really exciting because we're collecting DNA out of the air. And that to me is really fun because it's just it's an area that a few years ago wasn't even thought about. And now it's becoming a really important place where we can collect really fantastic biodiversity data about what's happening on the ground, what's happening in the soil, also what's happening in freshwater and marine systems. So it's a whole new world of looking at what's happening with our biodiversity and actually assessing big changes in our that have occurred with the climate and also land use change. Next time you take a breath in, you can just think about all that DNA that comes in with you as well.